Good morning children. Today we are going to see minerals and energy resources in Geography 10th Standard NCERT book. In this chapter we will have to study about mineral resources and energy resources. First we will see about mineral resources. Okay. See what are minerals? A substance which is found in the earth's crust and which generally has a definite chemical composition. And geologists define mineral as a homogeneous, naturally occurring substance with a definable internal structure. See, these are the book definitions. But basically, what are minerals? Minerals are inorganic substances that are found in the earth's crust. We humans extract those minerals and use those minerals in various purposes such as construction and manufacturing. Now look around you. You don't look far. You look at your mobile or a smartphone. Inside your mobile or smartphone, you will find copper, which is mineral, aluminium, which is a mineral, silicon, which is also a mineral. So, minerals are an indispensable part of our lives. Almost everything we use, from a tiny pin to a towering building or a big ship, all are made from minerals. For example, the railway lines and the tarmac of the roads, our implements and machinery are made from minerals. Cars, buses, trains, aeroplanes are manufactured from minerals and run on power resources derived from the earth. Even the food that we eat contains minerals. In all stages of development, human beings have used minerals for their livelihood, decoration, festivities, religious and ceremonial rites. See, we understood clearly that what is a mineral, isn't it? Yes. What is a mineral? Geologists define mineral as a homogeneous, naturally occurring substances with a definable internal structure. See, minerals are found in varied forms in nature, ranging from the hardest diamond to the softest top. Okay, which are the hardest and softest minerals in this world? Of course, diamond. Diamond is the hardest mineral in this world, and talc is the softest mineral in this world. Isn't it? Yes. See, already we have learnt about rocks, isn't it? Yes. Rocks are combinations of homogeneous substances called minerals. Some rocks, for instance, limestone, consists of a single mineral only, but majority of the rock consists of several minerals in varying proportions. So, a rock is an aggregate of one or more minerals, but without definite compositions of constituent of minerals. Aggregate, a collections. So, collective. A rock is an aggregate of one or more minerals, but without definite composition of constituent of minerals. See, already we have learnt about types of rocks, isn't it? What are the types of rocks? Igneous rocks, metamorphic rocks and sedimentary rocks, isn't it? Yes, we will see it later. Here, although over 2000 minerals have been identified, only a few are abundantly found in most of the rocks. A particular mineral that will be formed from a certain combination of elements depends upon the physical and chemical conditions under which the material forms. Simply we can say minerals are formed in different types of geological environments under varying conditions. They are created by natural processes without any human interference. They can be identified on the basis of their colors, hardness, crystal forms, luster and density. So, geologists use these properties to classify the minerals. Now, let's discuss about the study of minerals by geographers and geologists. Okay. See, generally, who are known as geographers? Geographers are an expert in the study of the physical features of the earth and its atmosphere. Isn't it? Yes. Who are known as geologists? A geologist is an expert in the field of geology, the study of what the earth is made of and how it was formed. Okay, and I want to tell you one more thing. The scientific study of rocks is called petrology. Okay, don't forget it. The scientific study of rocks is called petrology. Okay, fine. Now, geographers study minerals as part of the Earth's crust for a better understanding of landforms, the distribution of mineral resources and associates economic activities are of interest to geographers. Yes, geographers discover mineral deposits in various places, isn't it? Yes, but geologists study the formation of minerals, their age and physical and chemical composition. Okay, so we saw about the study of minerals by geographers and geologists. Now let's discuss about the classification of minerals. Okay, let's discuss about the classification of minerals. However, for general and commercial purposes, minerals can be classified as metallic minerals, non-metallic minerals and energy minerals. Okay. See, metallic minerals. Minerals containing metals are called metallic minerals. Metallic minerals having iron content are called ferrous minerals like iron ore and manganese. So, here we get metals from these minerals. Okay, ores, for example, ores of iron, copper, silver, lead, aluminium, gold, etc. are important examples of metallic minerals. These metallic minerals can further be divided into ferrous and non-ferrous. Okay, first we will see about ferrous minerals. The minerals which contain iron ore are known as ferrous minerals. For example, iron ore, manganese, nickel, cobalt, etc. are some of the important ferrous minerals. We will see the ferrous minerals. Okay. See, for examples of ferrous minerals, nickel, iron, cobalt, okay, manganese, these are the examples for ferrous minerals. Next, we will see about non-ferrous minerals. See here, these are the examples of non-ferrous minerals. What are non-ferrous minerals? Minerals containing metals other than iron ore are known as non-ferrous minerals. For example, gold, silver, copper, lead, then bauxite, tin, etc. Okay, these are the examples of non-ferrous minerals. Okay. Precious minerals. The minerals which have very high economic value are known as precious minerals. For example, gold, silver, platinum, etc. Okay, these are the examples of precious minerals. Okay, fine. Let's see about non-metallic minerals. What are non-metallic minerals? These are those minerals which do not contain metals. So simply we can say these minerals which do not contain metals are non-metallic minerals. For example, mica, salt, potash, sulfur, granite, limestone, marble, sandstone, etc. So these are the examples of non-metallic minerals. Now we will see about energy minerals. What are the energy minerals? The minerals which provide energy or power are known as energy minerals. So, what are energy minerals? The minerals which provide energy or power are known as energy minerals. For example, coal, petroleum and natural gas are the most important energy minerals. Okay. Now, let's see the mode of occurrence of minerals. Okay. Minerals are usually found in ores, and ore is a naturally occurring material having one or more minerals in sufficient concentration mixed with other elements. So, this is important for us to understand the main types of formations in which minerals occur. Minerals generally occur in these forms. We will see that. Veins and lodes. Okay, before going to see the veins and lodes, I'll show the types of rocks. Okay, these are the igneous and metamorphic rocks. Okay, now we are going to see how are minerals formed in igneous and metamorphic rocks. Okay, in igneous and metamorphic rocks, the minerals are found in cracks, crevices, faults or joints. Then the smaller occurrences of minerals are called veins and the larger occurrences are called as lodes. Then in most cases they are formed when minerals in liquid or molten and gaseous forms are forced upward through cavities towards the earth's surface. Then they cool and solidify as they rise. Okay, then major metallic minerals like tin, copper, zinc, lead, etc. are obtained from veins and lodes. Okay. See, now we are going to see how minerals are formed in sedimentary rocks. What we are going to see? How minerals are formed in sedimentary rocks. Okay, see, in sedimentary rocks, minerals occur in the form of beds and layers. They have been formed as a result of deposition, accumulation and concentration in horizontal layers of the rock. Coal and some forms of iron ore have been concentrated here due to great heat and pressure for long periods. Other minerals like gypsum, potash salt and sodium salts are also found in sedimentary rocks, and they have been formed as a result of evaporation, especially in arid regions. Okay. Now we are going to see how minerals are formed in decomposition of surface rocks. Here, if decomposition of surface rocks occurs with the removal of soluble constituents, the residual mass of weathered material left behind contains mineral ores. Bauxite is formed in this way. Okay, next we are going to see how minerals are formed in alluvial deposits. Some minerals are found in sands of valley floors and at the base of hills. These are known as placer deposits. These placer deposits consist of minerals which are not corroded by water. Example, gold, silver, platinum and tin. Means corroded means, what is that? Rust. Then, now we are going to see how minerals are formed in ocean waters. See, ocean waters contain many minerals. Common salt, magnesium and bromine are derived from ocean waters, whereas manganese nodules occur in ocean beds. Okay. India is fortunate to have fairly rich and varied mineral resources. But these resources are unevenly distributed. The distribution of minerals in India is discussed below. Okay, Peninsular Plateau. Peninsular rocks contain most of the resource of coal, metallic minerals, mica and many other non-metallic minerals. And it also has reserves of non-ferrous minerals. Next, Gujarat and Assam. Sedimentary rocks on the western and eastern flanks of the peninsula in Gujarat and Assam have most of the petroleum deposits. Next, in Rajasthan, it has reserves of many non-ferrous minerals. Okay, then northern plains. There is very little or no economic minerals in vast alluvial plains of North India. Okay, these variations exist largely because of the differences in the geological structure, process and time involved in the formation of minerals. Okay. Now we are going to see the mining of minerals. The economic activity of extraction of minerals from below the earth's surface is called mining. What is called mining? The economic activity of extraction of minerals from below the earth's surface is called mining. Actually, most of the fossil fuels are extracted by this method. What are the fossil fuels? Coal, petroleum products, everything will come under the fossil fuels. So most of the fossil fuels are extracted by this method. Various factors affect the economic viability of the reserve, such as concentration of mineral in the ore, the ease of extraction and closeness to the market, etc. before mining of the mineral starts. To extract minerals from a shallow depth by removing the overlying materials is called open cast mining. What is meant by open cast mining? To extract minerals from a shallow depth by removing the overlying materials is called open cast mining. Then now I am telling you about interesting fact, rat hole mining. Actually, most of the minerals in India are nationalized and their extraction is possible only after obtaining due permission from the government. If we get permission only, we can start the extraction of minerals. But in most of the tribal areas of the northeast India, minerals are owned by individuals or communities. For example, in Meghalaya, there are large deposits of coal, iron ore, limestone and dolomite, etc. Coal mining in Jovel and Chirabunji is done by family member in the form of a long narrow tunnel known as rat hole mining. See here rat hole mining in Meghalaya. Okay. Let's now study the distribution of a few major minerals in India. Okay, actually metallic minerals having iron content are called ferrous minerals. Already we have seen it clearly, isn't it? Yes. And a ferroalloy is an alloy of iron with some other metals. Actually, these minerals account for about 3/4 of the total value of the production of metallic minerals. Actually, after meeting the internal demands, India exports a fairly large amount of ferrous minerals. These minerals have much importance as they provide a strong base for the development of metallurgical industries. Now, we are going to see the distribution of ferrous minerals such as iron ore and manganese. Now we will see about the iron ore. Actually, it is the basic mineral and the backbone of our industrial development. India has abundant resources of good quality of iron ore. The finest iron ore is magnetite with a very high content of iron up to 70%. Actually, magnetite has excellent magnetic qualities, especially valuable in the electrical industry. At the same time, hematite ore has a content of iron up to 50 to 60%. It is the most important industrial iron ore in terms of the quantity used, but has slightly lower iron content than magnetite. Now, we are going to see the major iron ore belts in India. The major iron ore belts in India are Odisha Jharkhand belt. In Odisha, high-grade hematite ore is found in Badampur mines in the Mayurbhanj and Kendujkar districts. In the adjoining Singhbhum district of Jharkhand, hematite iron ore is mined in Goa and Nomandi. Okay, next. Durkbuster Chandrapur belt. Actually, it lies in Chhattisgarh and Maharashtra. Very high grade hematites are found in the famous Bailadila range of hills in the Boston district of Chhattisgarh. The range of hills comprises of 14 deposits of super high grade hematite iron ore, and it has the best physical properties needed for making steel. Actually, iron ore from these mines is exported to Japan and South Korea via Visakhapatnam port. Okay, next, Ballari, Chitradurga, Chikmagaluru, Dumkur belt. Actually, Karnataka has large reserves of iron ore. The Kudremukh mines are located in the western Ghats of Karnataka. They are 100% export unit and are known to be one of the largest in the world. The ore from this belt is transported as slurry through a pipeline to a port near Mangalore. Okay, next, Maharashtra Goa belt. It includes the state of Goa and Ratnagiri district of Maharashtra. Though the ores are not of very high quality, yet they can be efficiently used. From this belt, iron ore is exported through Marmago port. Okay. Now I tell you correct chronological sequence of iron ore producing states according to percentage share in total production in the year 2009 to 10. Okay. Odisha 33%, Jharkhand 28%, Chhattisgarh 19% and Karnataka 11%. These are the states which produced iron in the year 2009 to 10. Okay, fine. Now let's see the distribution of manganese in India. Actually, manganese is mainly used in the manufacturing of steel and ferromanganese alloy. Nearly 10 kg of manganese is required to manufacture 1 ton of steel. Actually, it is also used in manufacturing bleaching powder, insecticides and paints. Actually, Orissa is the largest producer of manganese ores in India. The states that produce maximum manganese in India are Odisha and also Madhya Pradesh and Karnataka. India ranks 5th in the world in production of manganese. Already you have seen it, the Odisha is the largest producer of manganese ores in India. Isn't it? Yes. Now, this is the 2009 to 2010 data of production of manganese showing state-wise share in percent. Karnataka produced 22%, and Odisha 25%, and Madhya Pradesh 24%, and others 29%. Okay. Okay, fine. This lesson will be continued in the next class. Okay. Thank you.